everyone, and welcome to another edition of Crew Travel right here on Yachting International Radio. My name is Rhea. I am your host, and I'm very pleased to welcome back after a month's hiatus, Lee Harris from ATPI Travel. How are you?
I'm very good, thank you. It's been a while, hasn't it? We've messaged and stuff, but we've not actually really spoken. It's nice to be speaking to you again now in 2025 as well.
Yeah, I think over the season, I saw a lot of people take a little bit longer of a break with podcasts, with posting, with all sorts of things. I think this year has seen a bit of a burnout happening with a lot of people trying to up their game, especially with podcasting and social media. So it's fine. I think we all need to prioritize our own mental health over and above our business interests at some point. And what a better time than the Christmas season, the holiday season.
Yeah, I think so. This is the first year I took a week off between Christmas and New Year, and that's the first time I've done it in probably about 10 years. And I've got to say, I thoroughly enjoyed it. It was lovely just to wind down, have a bit of relaxation, and actually get to enjoy Christmas for once. So, yeah, it was very nice.
Yeah, I think we need to come back to that concept of reconnecting with family and friends again in a real life scenario, as opposed to just using social media or online platforms to be connected. I think it's time that we bring back that human touch again.
Yeah, I totally agree. Yeah, it was nice just to catch up with family and friends, no stresses, have a few drinks, shall we say, and just enjoy ourselves.
There is a lot going on in the world of travel, having not spoken to you for a while, but number one, of course, on the list, and what a tragedy it is, but the LA wildfires. Now, they are not only causing devastation on the ground, but it also is causing travel disruptions. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, in recent days, stories concerning the ongoing wildfire crisis in the Los Angeles area of Southern California obviously have been dominating the headlines all around the world. Now, with the city being home to several major airports, lots of crew have been wondering if these facilities have closed as a result of the blazes, or if and how airline operations have been disrupted. Los Angeles International Airport is the major US hub for several major American carriers and consistently ranks among the busiest airports in the world. However, despite the extremely high numbers of passengers and flights that the facility handles and the destructive nature of the ongoing wildfires, cancellations have been few and far between, thankfully. Now, as of yesterday afternoon, only 9% of American Airlines flights to and from Los Angeles International had been cancelled. For Frontier Airlines, though, the figure does jump to a massive 20. All in all, data made available by FlightAware showed that only 27 departing flights were cancelled yesterday at LA International Airport, representing just 3% of the overall capacity. Meanwhile, only 26 arrivals were cancelled, representing just 2% of the facility's planned daily total. Now, while Los Angeles International Airport did well yesterday in terms of not cancelling too many of its flights as a result of the ongoing wildfire crisis, delays at the facility were more of a widespread issue. The data provided once again by FlightAware shows that 140 of Los Angeles International departures and 109 of the airport's arrivals were delayed yesterday. That represents a daily proportion of 15 and 12% respectively. Now, obviously, once again, what we would suggest here at ATPI is anyone due to travel from, to, or via Los Angeles Airport, please keep in contact with the airline you are traveling with or your travel provider. That obviously is to ensure that you are kept up to date with the latest information on your flight and with regards to Los Angeles International Airport.
I imagine some of these cancellations and some of the disruption is as a result of where the flight path is of those outgoing and incoming flights.
It is that. It's also with regards to the firefighters and the flights that they take over to drop the water on as well. That does affect the flights going in and out of. Well, I would also say, obviously, Los Angeles is the biggest airport in that area, but Burbank International Airport, we don't have too many crew fly through there, but just if there is anybody due to fly to or from Burbank, just be aware that has closed on certain days. So that is one to check on a daily basis.
And of course, I don't want to say thoughts and prayers because that is just so overused, but fingers crossed that these fires are put out quickly and that LA can get back to rebuilding.
Yeah, it's just utter devastation. It's heartbreaking to see it on TV, isn't it? It really is. And like you say, thoughts and prayers, it is used a little bit too much, so maybe sometimes, but I think in this instance, thoughts and prayers is the right term to use.
And moving on, a UK strike action, because of course that's got to be in here somewhere.
Always, isn't it? It's not new year, new UK at all travel, is it? It's the same old, unfortunately. Having averted strike action back in August 2023, the UK Civil Aviation Authority is now facing new action from its employees arising from a pay dispute. Now, according to trade union Prospect, its CAA employee members are planning on taking strike action from the 20th of January 2025 after having rejected a proposed 3 to 4% pay rise. Now, the industrial action is to take the form of working to rule and an overtime ban. Now, according to Prospect, the extra hours that the Civil Aviation Authority employees work beyond those they are contracted for are essential for the industry, and that by removing these extra hours, it could have a noticeable impact and ultimately effect on airline operations. Now, the Civil Aviation Authority is responsible for the regulation of aviation safety in the UK, determining policy for the use of airspace, the economic regulation of Heathrow, Gatwick or Stansted airports, the licensing and financial fitness of airlines, and the management of the ATOL Finance Protection Scheme. Basically, what this means for flights at the moment, we are really unsure of. We don't know how it's going to affect flights. It will somehow, but we don't know exactly what. However, more should become clear the closer we get to the date of the strike. So please just keep in contact with your airline and the airport that you're traveling out of.
What do I always say?
Pay your people.
Thank you very much. Moving on to Ryanair. This one makes me laugh. But anyway.
I know. It is funny, but reading it, it does make me think that there is actually some credence to what they're saying. Anyway, Ryanair is urging a 2-drink limit to be imposed by European airports to crack down on unruly passengers on flights. The call came as the budget carrier broke down the costs of a €15,000 diversion of a Dublin to Lanzarote flight to Porto last April due to one disruptive traveller. Now, more than 160 passengers and 6 crew were forced to stay overnight at Porto Airport before flying onwards to Lanzarote on the following day. The highest cost of €7,000 was to provide an overnight accommodation and meals to passengers and crew, in addition to 2,500 airport landing and handling fees, 1,800 in replacement crew costs, 2,500 in Portuguese legal fees, 800 in excess fuel, and 750 in lost in-flight sales. Now, a spokesperson for Ryanair said it is time that EU authorities take action to limit the sale of alcohol at airports. We fail to understand why passengers at airports are not limited to alcoholic drinks. Using their boarding pass in exactly the same way they limit duty-free sales, as this would result in safer and better passenger behaviour on board aircraft and a safer travel experience for passengers and crews all over Europe.
What I find amusing about this is that so many people go on and on about how the world is becoming this nanny state. But I think they're not taking personal accountability, because you wouldn't need the world to become a nanny state if you actually took responsibility for your own actions. And more, we are seeing that nobody bothers to take responsibility for their own actions, and they're throwing all the blame on everybody else and everything else, and we all suffer as a result. 20 years ago, you wouldn't have seen some idiot getting on a plane having had too much to drink. They wouldn't even consider it. 20 years ago, when you got on an airplane, you actually put on something other than baggy sweats because it was seen as a luxury. 20, 30 years ago, a luxury to travel. And it still is to a certain degree. But when you're getting into an airplane surrounded by that many people, take responsibility. Yeah, I like to have a drink or two before I got on an airplane, just for the simple fact that I'm a really nervous flyer and it puts me to sleep. Yeah. Bonus. But to go out and drink as much, like these people pound it back and they get on and they can barely even talk.
They do. I think, and you're right, it is all down to people taking responsibility for their own actions. And the problem you've got is people like Ryanair and EasyJet, and a lot of the low-cost carriers out of the UK, they travel to party hotspots. That is where they go to. So you've got Ibiza, the Balearics, the Greek islands and all the rest of it, and they'll fly direct in there. And the reality is the people who are traveling on those flights, they're not families, they're not businessmen. It's people to go out there to have a good time. And unfortunately, that starts from when they're hitting the airport or even before they even got to the airport drinking. I know friends who have gone to these places and they start drinking from the moment that the minibus picks them up to take them to the airport. That, to certain people, is the whole experience of that holiday. Maybe there's a way that they can put a rule in place on certain flights, certain boarding passes of these, because the reality is if you're flying on, I don't know, say a London to Amsterdam flight, you're going for business. You're not going to be drinking to excess at 6 o'clock in the morning or 8 o'clock in the morning. But if you're flying to Ibiza or the Balearics or somewhere and you've got a group of 10 to 15 people, the chances are that's exactly what they're there for.
Yeah, maybe it might come down to the fact that they're going to have to do fly the same as drink driving tests, fly tests. Where can you walk in a straight line before you get on this airplane? But I think it's sad that they're going to have to implement that because once again, you're going to hear this big upcry about how another country is becoming a nanny state. Don't act like a child. Really.
Exactly right. Yeah, that's the thing. Is it is exactly like you said at the beginning. It is taking responsibility for your own actions. No one's saying you can't have a good time, but maybe just wait until you land in the other country.
Even those other countries don't want you there acting like a tool. Their issue, isn't it?
Exactly right. They're all trying to find tourist taxes and ways to keep them out anyway.
I know, right? I think the writing's on the wall there, eh? But I don't know. How do you explain that to these people? I think you probably don't. Moving on before I trip over my own tongue. Sky Team announcement.
Yeah, the Sky team has launched a new service designed to help customers see which loyalty benefits they are entitled to when they fly with a member carrier. Now, the loyalty benefits calculator enables customers to enter their loyalty program status level and operating airline to see an overview of the benefits they can expect. Now, the Alliance said the calculator had been developed to simplify the travel experience for Sky Team's millions of frequent flyers, as certain benefits can vary by airline, loyalty program, and status level. The Alliance says it has 230 million loyalty members across 17 programs offered by its 19 member airline carriers.
Right. And of course, we have to put it out there that we do welcome crew questions. If you have a question about any travel issue whatsoever, Lee's information will be below this interview when it airs. If it can wait until next week, we will answer it on air. If it can't, it will be answered directly.
It will be, yeah. The whole Los Angeles wildfire thing, we've honestly been inundated. I've been inundated with questions with regards to it. It's a popular transit hub for crew, especially the Caribbean season if they're heading back to the southeast or the Asia Pacific area. So he's a hot topic at the moment. Keep reaching out to me. Obviously, it changes on a daily basis. We don't know what's going to happen. We're hoping that they can get them under control soon. And operations can get back to normal. But yeah, please just keep reaching out and we will give you the most up-to-date information we possibly can.
I have to say, I've been known to go the cheap route, as Lee knows, and that's fine in some cases. But I have a really important flight coming up at the end of August of this year, and I have requested that I have that help, and I know that I'm going to have to pay whatever it is that I have to pay in order to make sure that journey goes smoothly. If you aren't flexible in your options, if you aren't flexible of getting to a certain location to start your job or a certain time, or you've got a family emergency or whatever, then fine, go with the cheap online booking options. But I said that wrong, didn't I? If you aren't flexible, don't go with the cheap online booking options, because when you run into any sort of issue, you want to know that you've got somebody on the ground that has all those contact numbers that can make sure that you are sent on your journey, no matter what happens, as soon as possible. Because I know years ago, even my daughter was flying, and I think they had a bomb scare at the Germany airport in transit.
Yeah.
And she was stuck for 24 hours. And there was nothing I could do because in that instance, everybody was trying to figure out what they could do. And nobody really knew for sure. So there was nobody answering phones. There was no way to contact anybody. There was no way. The hotels were booked. It was just an absolute disaster. Yeah, if it's imperative that you get somewhere, make sure that you use a travel agent.
Yeah, I'm not here to tell people what they should or shouldn't book, but the end result is you usually get what you pay for. That's true in most cases in life. You get what you pay for, and the reality is that we've had people that have booked online and they'll phone us asking us when there's been a delay or a cancellation or something else has happened, whether we can get into their booking and change it or amend it. And the reality is we can't do anything. If it's booked online, we can't touch those bookings. We can only manage the bookings that we make ourselves. And the reality is you'll usually find if there's a flight delay or a cancellation, you're going to be queuing for 2 to 3 hours at the airport, because you're going to have 150, 160 people on your flight, all looking to change their bookings, looking to get hotels. Whereas if you can phone us, we can change your booking there and then. It can be done in a matter of minutes and we can get you a hotel. You could be tucked up in bed while people are still queuing.
And even through just a simple WhatsApp, which makes me a happy little camper.
Exactly right. Yeah. It can be as simple as you want. Email, telephone call, WhatsApp. Send it. We can do it.
Yeah, perfect. Lee, thank you ever so much for the information. And I look forward to our next session next week. Hopefully we've got a lot better news than we had this week.
Hopefully, fingers crossed. Yeah, let's hope for a bit of a better week next week. But yeah, look forward to speaking to you same time, same place next week.
Wonderful. You've been watching another edition of Crew Travel right here on Yachting International Radio. My name is Rhea. I have been your host, and on behalf of Lee Harris from ATPI Travel and myself, we thank you for tuning in. We'll see you again next week.